Hello, everybody. Welcome again to another production by Cindy and Bret, where we put together the astrology and the tarot, and we're going to cover the year of 2024 by quarter. Cindy's going to go through all of the alignments that will affect each quarter, and I will pull the cards and pull in the energy and some advice on how to conquer and get through to the next quarter, because it's leading into a big year, which 2025 will be, but we still got a big year to get our footing and get moving on things. So please like and subscribe to the video, and the links will be in the description box on how to get a reading from me or how to get a reading from Cindy. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Cindy, and she's going to take us through the stars for the year of 2024. Thank you, Cindy.
Thanks, Bret. It's been a long time.
It has.
But this is a good time of year, as we're going to head into the new year and everybody's anxious about, well, what does that mean? Because I know this 2023 it was kind of rough for myself. I know a lots of other friends and family that it was rough for, especially right here at the end in this last quarter of 2023. Things really seem to be topsy-turvy. So yeah, so we're all anxious. We're all anxious. Is it going to be better next year? Is it going to be better? That's the main question that I get from everybody. And the thing is like we were talking before we got started, is I think from all of the other people that I watch out there who are professionals in this field of astrology, one of the things that I notice is a lot of them are putting focus on 2025 because we have seen a lot of planetary action that we historically have not seen in, long periods of time. And I mean long periods of time, not just from year to year. And so those movements are going to start to settle down in 2025. So from about 2019 through here 2024, that's what's happening. The cosmos are like making a lot of these major changes and shifts because it's trying to move us all, either individually or collectively, through to a new period of time where we're breaking down old structures that we've been building up for many, many years, and in moving towards something different. And that could be in your own individual experiences, it could be in your family experiences, it could be, in your work or your community, and the world in general. I mean, just look at everything that's going on with wars and different things like that. We're going to be coming up on a presidential election here in 2024, which is really significant in terms of change, who will be the new president. So, this 2024 is still a really important year. And even though we're excited to see the light at the end of the tunnel, we do have to go through this year. So this is going to be a building year. It's going to be a year of remembering what we've gone through for the last 2 or 3 years and deciding really what's worth keeping, what needs to go, what we're willing to climb that mountain for. Pluto, we had a video last year about Pluto transiting into Aquarius. But this past year, it waffled back and forth between Capricorn and Aquarius. It's in Capricorn, in the last degrees of Capricorn right now. In the first of the year here, we'll move into Aquarius, which is moving from an earth sign to an air sign. So again, those structures to something more, ideas being different, ideas having to change, the way we communicate, the way we interact, things having to change. And then of course we have those lunar nodes that change too. We had a video on that last year, where we've moved into the Aries Libra lunar nodes. And that was the I versus the we. And we will see those through the eclipses this year in 2024. So again, it's, how do you climb back? How do you climb back professionally, personally, within the group accountability, or the world around us accountability? So restructuring, a lot of restructuring still yet needs to happen this year. So um, I guess that's really kind of a good introduction to the year. The only other thing that I kind of want to point out is, you know, um, Aries, obviously on that lunar node, is the I will. They are the more ego-driven sign. They're a cardinal fire sign. So they're the initiators. They're the get up and go. They're the first sign of the zodiac sign. And if we didn't use the calendar we would use a zodiac sign, which would begin in April, not in January. So this first quarter actually in astrology world is still kind of in the back year, because we haven't started our new astrology year until April. So Aries, the asteroid Chiron is in Aries, and the North Node will be in Aries too. And so Chiron is that wounded healer, the one that wants you to dig up all of the kind of past wounds and hurts, or old ways, and deal with them so that you can move forward and evolve in this lifetime. And then the North Node for everyone is different depending on where it sits in your chart. But it is where I like to think of it as kind of like the North Star. It's like where you personally, individually are heading towards in this journey of life this time. So putting those two together, putting Chiron and the North Node together, are like, okay, well, I can't move towards my North Star until I recognize and take care of all that old wounding. And old wounding doesn't have to be like something that just happened to me as a child. It can be even generational. What is being carried through, from your parents or from your parents' parents. And we
Past
see
life
that
too.
more when we talk about the collective, right? And all the different generations. Or it could even be past lifetimes. Yeah. Things that you didn't finish in a past lifetime and are working on this lifetime, what you signed up for, what your rising sign is. That's your rising sign. That's your soul contract with this lifetime. So we see a lot of action with Chiron in the North Node this year too, which brings up those same similar themes. So I think I'm going to go ahead and talk about the quarter first, and then you're going to do the tarot spread.
Yes. Yep. Go ahead and get the alignment, and then yeah, I'll pull the energy and the advice.
Okay, so for this first part of the year, it's a time, like I said, we're not in the new astrological year yet. So for a calendar year, these first few months are a time for you to go within, to show yourself still some compassion for all that's been going on this past year. And when things don't work out, how we thought that they were going to, maybe we don't always have to direct the change. Like, we can have faith. So it's a first quarter is a time to still have faith, not to give up, not to be discouraged, not to think, why does this keep happening to me? Um, and it's a time for us to really use that faith to open our reality and to expand it. We don't want to live like in an escapism kind of world where we drowned our sorrows, so to speak. We want to face our realities, and we want to work to raise our own consciousness as well as the world's consciousness, which is exactly what the planets have been trying to do for us over these last few years. So the one thing you definitely do not want to do in this first quarter is you don't want to fall into a victim mentality, or there's, research about being a victim in the triangle or the circle of death, basically, that has to go through, and you can get caught in those loops, and you do not want to get caught in those loops. You want to, work on helping yourself and and maybe even you have to ask other people for help. And so this first quarter will be a time to kind of think about that. Like, okay, well, if I can't do this on my own, how can I get help, or what can I change, or who can help me? So, anyways, um, like I said, that Chiron in the North Node, just to give you a date, the last time those two were together like that, um, was back in 1969.
Whoa.
So, yeah, just shortly, I guess, after I was born.
Well, that was a lot of change then in the 60s, and like radical
Exactly.
stand,
Yes.
standing up and saying, this ain't right.
Yes, yes. And Jupiter in Taurus, same thing, and Jupiter's all about expanding our self-worth and our values. But, the way I always think about Jupiter too is, even though it is the planet of expansion, it can go the opposite. It can expand big and for the good and for all of your dreams and goals and things, but it also can go the opposite. Expansion can go deep. It can go to the dark side. It can go to the shadow side. It can go to that escapism or victim mentality. So again, with Jupiter there in an earth sign, that's something to be watch out for, your own self-worth in your own values. And then, of course, always we have Saturn. We always have Saturn hanging around trying to teach us lessons. So basically, Saturn is saying to us in this first quarter that, you want to do all of the work that's necessary right now, so that when we start to get into the second, third, and fourth quarter, you're going to be building on that and moving towards a better 2025. So it's going to be a challenging time, even here in this first part of the year. That's not going to quite lighten up yet, but have faith as we move into the second quarter.
All right. So, ready for the first quarter
Yes. So let's
polling?
see what
All
the
right.
tarot cards say for that.
Yeah. So, my notes on this was, learning who you are, and then integration, getting your footing so you can move forward. And like you talked about, the imploding and going deep or expanding and not having to relearn lessons is very important. This is where we talked earlier about doing the work. Don't just sit around and wait for 2025 to come, because it'll be here before you know it, and you'll be late again, and you don't want to miss this, right? All right, let's see. Let's talk about who we are. We got the Eight of Pentacles here. Get to work. That's the working man's card, working woman's card. It is self mastery, and that should be your situation all day long. And it's a building card. Look at this guy. He's building. He's putting things together. He's already got 7 things done. He's working on his 8th. Love the number 8. The second card that came with this, we got 5 swords. These can be some mental conflict, people conflicts, or the things that are keeping us from this work, right? Or who we are. The distractions are always the feelings I get with that. So the challenge for this first quarter, 7 of Swords. Now this is a freaking. I love this card right now because it is Aquarius energy, and it's really an energy of changing your strategy. And it's also about people doing that same stuff they do, where they lie, they cheat, they scheme, they strategize. But this could be you strategizing on a new you. But it's also making sure that you can self you can mess up your own head thinking your own bad thoughts. You know what I mean? So right now it's like taking back your power, strategizing in a new way so you can keep building on this year. Let's get an outcome. Yeah, that's Aquarius energy too. A 7 of Swords, 5 Swords is also Aquarius. 8 Pentacles is Virgo. Across the table we go. Knight of Cups. That's really kind of a special card. That's going after what you love. You know what I mean? It's also bringing love to the table with the Knight of Cups. This is saying and doing the right things, showing love, being grateful, showing great tact, because that's who you are, right? You want to integrate your integrity. All right, so I'm gonna pull the advice card on all this. It's really powerful energy here. It can sweep you off your feet too, but you also got to pay attention to the red flags here with the 7 of Swords as the challenge card, because it could be self-defeating. All right, I'm gonna cut this energy. All right, what's the advice, Spirit, for the collective first quarter? Oh, I love this card. And this is the Knight of Cups too. Share the love. Card number 3. So share the love is 3 of Cups. And I like this energy. It's page 101, which I like that number. The advice here. You're entering a period of joy and tranquility. However, this card speaks of friendship rather than romance, suggesting that this is an opportune time to connect with friends. For the time being, let go of any desires, anxiety, or stress around romantic relationships. Instead, focus on your relationship with your friends. Turn to them for support if you need it, and find reason to celebrate with them, rejoicing in the fact that they'll always be there for you and you for them. Community is also important at this time, right? The I over the we. Get out of your house and away from your own concerns. How can you positively contribute to your community? Reach out to your neighbors. Is there an active group or support group that you thought about joining? Do it now. This is a great way to meet new people. We could turn into lifelong friends. Feel the joy of connecting with others and share your love in that way. And we were just talking about getting together in February.
I
with
just
some
was thinking the
people.
same thing.
So spot on. I'm gonna leave it right there. If you want to add anything to it, it's strategizing, it's taking your power back. It's don't let yourself down. You know what I mean? You can see through this stuff, and it's share the love. It's bring out the good stuff and forget the bad. Take your step away. See, that's a powerful quarter. I like it.
Yeah. And so, yeah, again, I say this every time we get together. I always feel like the tarot cards really are spot on and just reconfirm like everything that I'm seeing out there in the skies. Because, for example, those sword cards, like you said, being the sign of air, the swords, but Mercury, in February, Mercury is going to be conjunct Pluto, and the sun is too, both in Aquarius. So there's just, that month of February, the sun in Aquarius, and that's a lot of air energy, swords energy, a lot of mental activity, a lot of thoughts.
Right.
And
That's right. Well, I was gonna say that's truth and logic, and it's also your ambition. It's like that air energy, that fresh breath of fresh air that gets you moving. You know what I mean?
mhm,
Breathing
mhm.
up.
Yeah,
Like,
and the theme of the whole year too is, even though it is that group, you're gonna see, as we're learning through the beginnings of this year, is like not only how you fit into the group and to have that group or to find that tribe, um, but how do you balance that? How do you balance yourself within a group? And what do those groups have to offer you? And sometimes, like you'll see towards the end of the year, you might actually need to just stand up for yourself and say, no, This is not the group for me right now. That's not what's happening here in the beginning of the year. In the beginning of the year, we're still just, reflecting and figuring it out. But later in the year, towards the end of the year, going into 2025, we're going to want to be setting some more stronger boundaries. So, so in March, starting in March, heading into that second quarter, again, those planets were moving out of Capricorn. So this is going to be the time, again, Capricorn is, it is well, it's ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is that, planet of lessons. I always think of it like as the dad planet or the going to the principal's office planet. It's kind of like, the rules, or what's right and what's wrong, but we like to break rules. We like to push rules. We like to, be unique and do things our own way. So when things are in Capricorn, that's why it's so strong and such a building sign. And that goat, like trying to march up that mountain, and even when it gets pushed down, it just keeps going. Well, so when planets start to move out of Capricorn, it can give us that kind of more like, oh, now I don't have to be so responsible. But that's going to be the theme of the second quarter. The theme of the second quarter is not to fall to the, I don't know if it's not really laziness, but maybe the comfort of not having to be so responsible all the time. So you're going to want to be holding yourself accountable in that second quarter. You're resolving yourself to climbing that mountain. Like, we already know, we're starting to see what that mountain's going to look like for us going forward into 2025. But even later in the year, there'll be opportunities where you can slide back down that mountain. And we don't want to do that. We want to continue to keep walking or charging up that mountain. So you don't want to slide back in the second quarter. And but you again, it might be easy to slide back because you are going to start to feel kind of like the weight of the world on you in the second quarter. So again, whenever we feel the weight of the world, it's easier sometimes just to ignore it, sweep it under the rug, engage in escapism kind of, behavior, whatever your vices may be. Could be something like shopping, like, you spend too much. And so then we are also going to head into the lunar eclipse at the end of March. And that's going to be all about relationships. It's going to be looking at who those close relationships or friends are. And then again, are there people within those groups that can help you, that whatever it is that you've been working on in that first quarter, this second quarter is going to be where you're going to try to find that help if you need that help. And then at the beginning of April, now again, this is the beginning of the astrological year. This is like with astrology, not even every year. I mean, it's always a new year in astrology. And if you think of it like we think of January as the new year, where we want to like be resolved, and make changes for ourselves. So in astrology, you would want to do that like in the 1st of April. So, but this particular year, all of the planets are up at the top of the chart. And there's going to be a solar eclipse on April 8th. And that's going to be in Aries. So the lunar eclipse was in Libra. So that's the group. That's the trying to find the, balance between the I and the we in the group. But then when the solar eclipse rolls around the 1st of April, that one is going to be, you're going to want to maybe or feel more like focusing on yourself, because now you're at the top of the chart. You want to like let go of any insecurities, because even though Aries, being the first sign of the zodiac, being a cardinal fire sign, being the boss, being the initiator, they also have a lot of insecurities. And so that's kind of the shadow side of the Aries energy. So you don't want to fall prey to that. You do want to use that solar eclipse to like kind of like till up your own soil and plant your own seeds, and find out those seeds that you're planting are going to be more empowering for yourself, and how you are going to fit into this new up leveling of consciousness that the planets have been bringing us through these last few years. So if you can do this and you're prepared and you're ready and you decide to not fall to victim, then the reward is going to be fantastic. Like you're going to be the captain of your own ship. And other hard energies are not going to crush you. But if you're not prepared, some of these hard energies in these last 3 quarters could be quite weighty for you. So, in April, we also have Uranus and Jupiter in Taurus. And we talked about this a little bit beforehand about how the last time that was back in World War II, 1941. Again, that's just to demonstrate that we haven't seen a lot of these planets in these positions in a very, very long time. And so that's going to want us to do things differently. Uranus is always the planet of change, being unique, thinking outside of the box. It's like the planet of technology. I think we're going to see collectively, we're going to see a lot more with technology and the whole AI. There's still lots of debates over that. And if you remember last spring, it kind of debuted right around this time. And then it's kind of gone silent while all these big companies are out there racing to figure out, how they can be the top dog with AI. So I think this spring we'll see a lot of change in technology because of Uranus being there. But it's going to be a wake-up call for you. You want to bring all of your dreams and thoughts and ideas that you had in that fourth quarter into reality. You want to, just think about your values and think about transforming. So that's probably, you're going to start wanting to think about those boundaries. That's going to be really important all year, but here in the second quarter, that's going to be important too. Like, I always think of a word for the year, and I haven't 100% settled on my word yet, but I think my word is going to be no, because I have a hard time saying no. I am Aquarius sun, but I'm also a Cancer rising. So I like to give, like I'm a mother bear, I don't really want to say no. And I like to be in the group. I like to go out and have fun and play and things like that. But Saturn's always there reminding me that I need to be responsible when maybe I don't always need to be responsible. But so if I were to choose my word as no, and this is just my message about this quarter, and this is an example, we also need to learn how to do that with strength and grace. So when I say no to something, it doesn't mean necessarily that I don't like you or this is a stupid thing we're going to do. It really is just protecting my values or protecting my self-worth or protecting my boundaries or my precious time, or giving time to myself. So in that case, no is a positive word, not necessarily a negative word. And so I would encourage you to also, find your word for the year, because around this time, it's going to be, think of it maybe like the phoenix rising, this first quarter is not going to be that. But once we get to that 1st of April, we're going to see the mood starting to get lighter and that phoenix starting to rise, because then, in June, we're going to go into Gemini, and Gemini is an air sign, and it's all about, changeability, flexibility here, there, scattered,
In fact,
much lighter energy.
right. I thought it was
Well,
interesting that a lot of these alignments uh, are like wartime stuff, 69, 42. And here we are, Russia and, Iran and China,
oh
we're
my
all,
gosh, it all lines up. So,
it's right. Yeah. And this is, but what happened after that? Big technology advances, like through the 40s and the 50s, we went to the moon. I read an article the other day that they've now replicated this nuclear fusion. That's when it's perfected, it will power the world clean and forever. Like, so those are the technology things I'm looking forward to. The ending of the wars. I'm sure hoping that's part of it, because 69 and 42, I want to say, is that when World War II started, right? So 69 was the end, I think, of Vietnam, or getting towards that end. So, all right. So second quarter, ready for me to pull energy?
yes, for
All
sure.
right. So let's remember who we are, about holding ourselves accountable for past stuff. What do we got, universe? Give me the thoughts, the actions. What should we expect? We got the Sun card, Leo energy. I like this energy because it's about being positive, right? And I also like the sun because it sheds light on the dark things, right? Brings things to light. It can sterilize. It makes you feel good. This is powerful energy with Leo, because when you break this down, Leo, is the strength card too. And it's about connecting back when you may have been a kid and seeing things through those eyes again. It's about new beginnings too with the sun. It's being optimistic, and I think that's the biggest thing here, because there was a lot of negativity that could also be pulling in with that. So it's about renewing your passion too. I like remembering who you are. Like, who are you? I know I've had so many versions of myself, but I know all those versions. Which one do I want to be? Probably somewhere between all of them. I'm still figuring that. I turn 50 next year. So, and we're all still learning, whatever age you are, whether you're 80 or 15, there's a lot of stuff going on. But enjoy this time right now. And it's about clearing out the old so you can bring in new happiness and things that'll grow. The sun helps things to grow. It's about renewing your energy too. You were talking about, sitting around, and, kicking back, but it's also getting ready to do it, make sure you got good health going on, taking care of yourself. Oh, that was a lot of cards. The challenge, star card, a lot of Aquarius energy in here. It must be you, Cindy. But it is that healing energy with the star. And we got the star and the sun here. What are we here talking about? We're here to talk about alignments. And Uranus is doing something in this quarter too, right?
Yep.
Very much so. So the star card is connected again. I just talked about the strength card because it's card number 17. 7 and 1 is 8. So it's the challenge is overcoming those obstacles, right? And not sitting back just having a good time. It's about also clearing out, spring cleaning. I mean, right? Getting ready for things to happen. I like the outcome here. We got the Princess of Cups, also known as the Daughter of Cups. She's all about creating her creativeness. I mean, that's just what she is. She wants to create. She's in tune to her emotions, and it's being open to messages. We talked a lot about friends and your friends group, and this is a lot of it, is focusing on your friendships and those things that make you happy, right? And there was an extra bonus card, Queen of Swords. This is also one of my Cindy cards. It's finding truth and clarity and things. It's healing those old wounds. And I guess this whole energy feels like it's bringing in happiness, healing, and avenues to open up new creative routes for a lot of people. You know, whatever you want to endure or in whatever adventure you want to take, whether you're an artist, a cook, or whatever you want to be, this is that time where you can really put into it. Our card is called Seek, right? Isn't that what we finding happiness? I'm just going to connect that. We got the star and the sun, and we've got two people here. The Seek card. Sometimes individuals become so engrossed in a relationship or in wanting a relationship that they lose all perspective. The relationship becomes their world and they lose sight of themselves. This card suggests that now is the time to take a step back, either from a relationship or from the desire for one, and go on an internal quest to rediscover yourself. That's part of that Queen of Swords too, because she wears a mask, right? She's not always showing everything. So one of my favorite things to say, there can't be a we until there's a me. And, you know, we've been doing this back and forth, the I and the me and the we and the he, you know, but this is working on yourself and what makes you happy, healing those old wounds, just exactly lining up perfectly. If this resonates with you, it's time to have a dialogue with your higher self and your guides about who you are and what you really need in life. You may be surprised by the answer. This is also a good time to physically retreat from a busy life and relationship. Attending a spiritual retreat would be optimal. However, simply finding some time for solitude and introspection can be just as beneficial. Take a walk in nature, quiet your mind, and listen for messages from the birds and the trees. Give yourself the gift of daily 5-minute meditations. Pull a card from the deck and sit with this card's image, seeking its deeper meaning for you about what role relationships play in your life. You may feel you need assistance in your quest for greater understanding regarding what you need in a relationship or even how to handle a specific relationship. Finding a guide or mentor who is knowledgeable in matters of the heart and conversation and converse with that person. So, and that's the Hermit card, this Seek card. And, you know, the Hermit is the dark night of the soul. The sun is bringing in the light. You know, it's that light that, you know, you got to go in there and get it. And, you know, you can't have light without the dark and vice versa. So it's about balancing those things out and finding out inside who you really are, what makes you happy. You know, are you connecting with the right people? Do they make you feel young and fresh where you can tell them all your crazy ideas, you know? And are they really being open and honest with you at all times? You know, this is really that inner work. And the star card right above it with the healing energy, beautiful.
Yeah, so what I really like about that poll there too is it is reinforcing that second quarter, but I also heard many messages that are what are important leading into that third quarter. So, because the third quarter is kind of like, you know, the conscious versus the unconscious. So, Mars is going to be in tension with Pluto. So, you know, again, Mars is like the action oriented sign. You know, Aries is ruled by Mars. And so when it's in tension with Pluto, you know, like Mars is like, no, we're just going to do this. We're going to do it right now, today. And Pluto's like, I'm working on some transformation over here. And so you just need to slow your horses, right? So that brings us into the summer because the summertime is okay. We've been talking about, you know, you versus the group or how do you fit into the group? Well, what do we do during the summer, right? We tend to spend more time in groups. We spend time outside, we socialize, we, you know, go
Travel.
places where more people are, right? Travel and such. So the summer is going to kind of be like flipping a coin. So first we're thinking about how we balance ourselves in the group. So now maybe, you're in those groups throughout the summer, but you're seeing things from another perspective. Like you're hearing their perspective on all of the things that are the groups talking about, or that they're individually experiencing, or that you have been experiencing. So there's a lot more group dynamic in terms of, talk and thinking. So we're through the summer, you're going to spend time hearing the perspective of other people. But a lot of planets, not a lot, but like Venus, for example, is always around in the summer, and it goes retrograde in August. I think it's the end of July, 1st of August, somewhere there. And so when last year we talked a lot about Venus being retrograde. In fact, I think we might have even done a clip on that one, but and that's because it was a very significant retrograde last year for Venus, but it will go retrograde again this year. So during the summer is when we can see, like, you know, like we might start to feel like, oh, my relationship's not so bad, in making compromises, or maybe someone from the past shows up, and you're thinking, oh, they're not so bad. They're not as bad as I thought they were. And so again, it can be a time where you can maybe not necessarily fall prey to slipping back into old relationships, but the potential is there. So you don't want to do that. You want to use the summer to be a part of these groups and to be listening to other people's perspective and taking that in, because that's going to be part of the balancing that we're trying to figure out this year. How do we, or I, fit into the we? So in order to evaluate that, we have to get perspectives from other people. So and also the other thing that could come up this summer, again, because Chiron being there with, as that wounded healer, you may have some insecurities about being part of a group. Or, whatever all of those inner personality dynamics are for you. But when we get towards the end of the summer and we come into that Leo season, which we drew that card, this is a time where we're going to start getting a little bit bolder, and we're going to start speaking up more, speaking more courageously, based on the things that have been happening to us here over the summer. So, summer can sometimes feel like it's a stalling time, or a quieter time, or a slow down time, even though we're busier than we normally are any time of the year during the summer, because we can get out and we can do more. But all of that busyness can sometimes make it feel like all of this transformation, or the goals that you are trying to achieve, are stalling out. Well, again, this is kind of intentional, because Mercury goes retrograde in the summer too, or in June. So we want to, again, we want to be slowing down and reflecting a little bit more through the summer, so that when we head into this last quarter, fourth quarter, we're going to start to be making many more transformations that are going to carry us into that 2025. So again, in August, we have another, aspect of planets between Jupiter and Mars being in tension with Saturn, and that hasn't happened since 1289. So again, it's just gonna be, oh, the summer's just gonna be like a waffly time, or it's gonna feel like a waffly time. Like it might be easier to slip back, but we don't want to slip back. You want to receive all the info. You want to ask yourself questions. You want to use your intuition to process everything that you're learning over the summer.
I think I like the way you put together how the second quarter really leads into the third quarter, and the card's pointed right at Leo season, like, and with the star there, that is an alignment, right? And so
Exactly.
you got to do the work. That's why that hermit card, the seek, seek what is within. And yeah, are you with the right people? I've been doing a number of readings lately with people that are just like, I just don't connect with this group like I used to. We used to go out and drink and party, and that's just not me anymore. I'm on it, and or just don't feeling like you fit in. And it's like, well, that's telling you something. That's telling you you need to get out and expand, and yeah, find those people you're supposed to be with, and yeah, get ready for the summer, because if you don't do the work, it's going to get more confusing, and like you said, likely to settle back into the same routine. And then 2025 is going to be
Yeah.
well, fourth quarter you said is really, leading up to it. So
Yes.
let's talk about the third quarter here. Let's pull some energy. Let's see what the situation is for third quarter. So it was the two of wands. So it was Aries energy. Like, start planning now is like what I hear from that card. Start looking ahead. Wow, that one's across the table. Oh boy, seven swordsy again. Again, that's, you may have to change your strategy again, or again, you're listening to the same line and going in the same direction. Like, it's just setting you up for failure and to be taken from something taken from.
Well, right, because listening to other people's perspectives doesn't have to mean change. It
Right.
can be confirming what you've already been starting to believe in yourself.
Right. Well, you know what came out with that? The high priestess. She is all about her intuition and trusting her own inner voice, and not letting the past things feed through those filters where they turn into, oh, I accept these red flags, and oh, I can fix this. You really have to trust yourself with the high priestess, and you got to be finding your inner light with her. She's asking you to connect to your higher self, and she has ways of changing things to make sure she can throw you off balance just to make sure you realize where your balance belongs. So it's trusting yourself. It's also a higher calling. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of people looking for higher things. Yeah, I don't want to be a drunk. I don't want to go out partying. I don't want to do one night stands. I want something more for myself that's longer lasting. It's telling you clear your mind and ask your heart for the answers. Right? That seek card. Look what's coming, right? We got King of Pentacles here. I love this guy because he's the one who runs the show. The King of Pentacles, he has his own business. He is his own person. You're managing your life for the future right now. And this right now can be a tough energy with the King of Pentacles, because you've got to explore, and you've also got to be really serious about it. I mean, it's just what it feels like, make sure you're not dealing with greedy people who are taking more of your time, so that the distraction thing too, building your future right now, manage your life for what's next. The outcome of that, I like this. Five swords in the reverse. That's when there's no more conflicts. This is when you've overcome these and you've seen the truth and you're ready to move forward. It's about forgiveness. This card is a forgiving card. Forgive yourself, forgive others. We talked about this, letting go of the dead weight, any old grudges, clearing out, for new things to grow, right? And if you don't clear out that garden, it's not going to grow right, So on that, let's pull some advice for this third quarter. It seems like very important. Spirit should be talking to you. And in the spring, especially. I love this card. This is High Priestess. Listen. And we got High Priestess right there with the Seven of Swords. I really feel like it's telling you to take back your power. You know what I mean? That's the strategy card. All right. Take a moment to quiet your mental chatter and listen. In relationships, it's important to pay attention to what other person's is really saying. Too often in conversation, you're already planning what you're going to say while the other person is still talking. You make assumptions about where the conversation is going and play your part of the conversation accordingly, even working the conversation to a desired outcome. When this happens, you don't truly hear what the other person said, and is doing so, you weren't present for that person. Listening starts with becoming quiet, centered, and totally present. Listening involves many senses. Use your eyes to see the body language of the other person. Use your ears to hear not only the words spoken, but also the tone used to express them. Use your intuition to get a sense of what the person is really saying and feeling. Intuition often helps you hear what is not said as well as what is said. This is crucial to understand the person or the situation. Understanding is essential to improving the relationships and the situation. Remember, once again, to center yourself and use all of your senses to understand what is actually being communicated. Listening is a gift. Give this gift to your partner, your parents, your children, friends, coworkers, pets, and anyone you meet. Most importantly, give the gift to yourself. Tune into your mind, body, and soul. Are you listening, and what do you hear? So, the high priestess and the seven of swords there, that could be self-deception. It's not listening. It's not, you know what I mean? And that's what the danger was, right? Not listening to yourself, listening to others, going along with no, not today. You got to listen to yourself if you want to make it through.
Yeah, that is so perfect. That last card really summarized that whole quarter. And again, I want to say it's leading into that fourth quarter, because the fourth quarter is gonna be all about, like, you know, it's almost kind of like the make it or break it, like, and I don't like really the word break it. I maybe just like, this is not this lifetime's journey isn't going to be the one where you're going to transform, because, you are, for whatever reasons, the lessons you're learning are not to learn or whatever. It's hard for me to explain, because that's not what the universe wants for us. The universe really wants us to do the work, and it wants us to transform in this lifetime, individually, again, with friends and family, and collectively. Like, we have not seen these planets in these positions in so long.
And what you were talking about, the outcome here, the five of swords in the reverse, it's creating closure. It's the end of the debate. You know what I mean? And this is where you move forward. So
Right.
it's about forgiving, forgetting, and jettisoning, and really finding that inner light, because you did that work. You found that light before the summer started, and it didn't take you off course. You made decisive decisions, the best ones for yourself and for the immediate things around you. You know what I mean? That you need to protect, that are important, and you're getting rid of those things that, yeah.
Yeah. And so I do want to
Five,
kind of go ahead.
change is what fives are about in the tarot, and that's where change is all created.
Yep, for sure. And so I do want to say, part of that change and that transformation, again, I'm not going to just say individually, but collectively, is that or not planet, but that asteroid Chiron being so active here in 2024, because it's the wounded healer. It's the one that is, we can't keep sweeping this stuff under the rug. It's got to be addressed, whether it's nationally, worldwide, individually. Things need to be addressed, because that we're just not going to be in the same place. And I also think about it like, in reality, when we talk about some of these past years, that the last time these planets were in these positions, you can imagine like your parents or your grandparents, who were probably sitting around having these same kind of conversations, like, what is the world coming to? You know, like, oh my goodness, we're going to have a microwave we can just like put our food in and zap it. You know, I mean, can you imagine how that must have felt to them? And really, we don't know what we're moving into, but we're having those same similar feelings now because the world is the universe is transforming. Like, how are we going to keep up with the microwave nuking our food, you know? Or how are we going to keep up with the GMOs or the hydroponics and, you know, all the yeah, AI and it's those same conversations just in a more different and evolved way. And that's really the message here. So in this last quarter, it's going to be really important um to, you know, have courage because Chiron is that wounded wounded healer. But Jupiter, again, planet of expansion, planet of luck, planet of big ideas, big things, change. So we have to have the courage to overcome the past so that we can expand. We need to have the courage to define your environment, what you want your environment to look like, you know, and then stepping into that, seeing it and stepping into it and holding yourself accountable for it, you know. Don't take the easy road or the road, you know, take the road less traveled or take the high road, don't take the
Right,
low road.
the road that's right for you.
The road that's right for you, for
Yeah.
sure. And, you know, and part of that courage is like we were talking about through the summer, you know, the other people's perspective or the collective's perspective and to learn from that. And again, learning doesn't mean you have to always change, but it does mean that, you know, you have to accept or you have to if you're not going to change, you have to accept at least what the change is going to look like. And then the other thing is that in this fourth quarter, the mutable signs, which um this, you know, the cardinal signs, which were um let me see here. The cardinal signs are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. So they've all, you know, gone through a bunch of years of challenging and learning because of that Pluto in Capricorn. But in this fourth quarter, the mutable signs, which are going to be Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. They're going to be activated in this fourth quarter because, again, they can live. The mutable signs can live in a sense of fear, so to speak, like they, you know, like they really want to change, but they don't they don't know what that's going to look like. So sometimes that can feel fearful to them. So what I really want to say to those signs too in this last quarter is that, you know, like I can't even, this is a stupid word, but all I can think is pooey on that. Like shit on that.
Yeah.
You know, because that no, you as a mutable sign, you no slipping back. No, you are just as empowered and as strong as everyone else here is. And if you've been doing the work all along, whether you follow astrology or you work with other metaphysical mediums to, you know, help enlighten yourself, books that you read, people that you talk to, you know, we all have free will. We all have the ability to change. And so, in order to, you know, get to that pinnacle of 2025, you know, you're going to want to use this last quarter again, not to slip back, but to continue to learn who you are, Remember who you were and how that might need to change. Remember what your values are, and are your values changing? And to speak to yourself with respect and to others with respect. Like, you know, we're too hard on ourselves and we're too hard on other people. And life is hard. Life has been hard the last few years. So we need to, stop being so hard on ourselves and have more compassion. Open our heart for ourselves and for the people around us and all of this change that we're embracing.
Oh,
So that's the last quarter where we're really kind of sliding in and up leveling and taking everything that we've learned from this year. So
awesome.
no more, like I said, in the summertime where we kind of feel like a little bit lazier, a little bit like stalled out. This fourth quarter is no, we're not stalled out. We've learned all these things. We're going to start to open our heart. We're going to start to integrate them. And, I want to say all is going to be well when we do the same report next year for 2025.
Well, I'm excited. You said, Pisces and the Sagittarius and all the mutable signs are going to be activated. Well, I got activated over the last 3 years, so I can't wait for the next activation. And I do like that attitude, shit on that. I don't need that. And as a mutable sign, we can be so strong, but we can also be so self-critical. And like, even for me, the hardest thing for me to do is be in front of this, but it's really what I have to conquer to be successful and to be able to say and do what I need to do to help mankind, the collective, and myself grow in ways that we never understood or could fathom. So,
Yeah, and I can, my analogy to that is too, is that, I have a large circle of friends that think I'm like absolutely batshit crazy because I listen to the universe and I let that energy flow through me to help, grow and meet goals and manifest things. And, I just think to myself, like maybe that's not my tribe no more because
right.
they don't want to hear about those things. I need to work on and practice and get out in front of the people who do believe.
Yeah. Our tribe and finding our tribes, well, and that inquires finding ourselves first. And yeah, no
Correct.
self-doubt. You don't give a care what anybody thinks. They aren't your people anyway. So attracting in those that are going to build you up, and whatever your beliefs are, you know what I mean. Standing true to them, and you know, screw the naysayers. That's always what I say. Hold my beer, watch me. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
this
And if you want to, stick with the old, so be it. That
yeah,
won't be my tribe, but, you
yeah,
know, so be it. See how that works out for you.
that's right. You'll end up in the same place. Going, what am I doing here? All right, final energy. The situation. God, I like this. Oh, King of Wands. We had kings, this is our second king for 2 quarters now. And the King of Wands, he is so motivated. I mean, the King of Wands, there's no one that this person takes charge. They want to change the world, they want to leave the mark. And this is also telling you to take the lead, right? Don't let anybody lead you there. This card is just straight up saying you take the lead, you be determined on your own path, and you will find that. Like, you know what I mean? Determination and grit will get you there. Nothing else will. You know, the challenge for that King of Wands. Oh, I like this. But it's an interesting card. 6 of Swords, freaking more Aquarius. So the biggest thing with the 6 of Swords, you've been out in that storm and weathering it, and now you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, the port, and now you've got to get there, right? And so the challenge is working through those waves, those rogue waves, those situations that come through in the fourth quarter, that may want you to slide back, and you might want to stay out in that storm some more. Maybe you haven't had enough. I don't know, but this is telling you to find peace and calm, and also connecting with leaving things behind. It's moving forward energy. And moving on from relationships that didn't suit you, so you can find calmer times and better people. And this card is also associated with making the best of a bad situation. Even if you're in a bad situation, you still make the best of it, right? There's always a silver lining. I always like to say, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Man, that's an old saying, right?
Right.
Let's get an outcome on that Six of Swords. Let's get out of the storm. Okay,
The Summer of Love, that's the one that reminds me of.
well, look out, 10 cups. When you truly find yourself, you find that inner happiness, and that's where you start to glow. And this is where you meet your people. People are coming back. When you reach fulfillment, when you've been out in that storm long enough and you've done all the work, this is emotional fulfillment. These are where things that have come full circle. Now we can earn the rewards, and we're ready for that next ace of cups that comes after it. Well, a page of cups would be next too, as far as like exploring more of our creative side. So I love that the things come in full circle for us, and leaving things in the past that were keeping us from that happy place. But we've got to weather that storm. We've got to we got to be motivated to make those changes, and you got to do the work. All right, the advice on that spread. Give it to me, universe. Things are coming together. My little baby. That's we got.
Yeah, while you looked that up, I was going to say, I love that word you just used, the glow up. So if you don't like the spiritual words of like evolving or, whatever, how about let's just all glow up? I love that.
Right. Well, we can
Grow up to glow up.
well, we can build each other up. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I like the coming together. Got two people. This is Two of Cups. This is like finding that other half. Whether you found your other half of yourself, if you're a mutable sign, I found both fish. Gemini's found balance between their two good side and bad side, but things are coming together. This is a card of partnerships and harmony. It suggests a new romance of a deepening or an existing one. You may find that a current friendship blossoms into something more of an exciting new love steps in your life. When this card appeared, it often signifies taking love to the next level. Is it time for you to make a greater commitment to any of your relationships? Perhaps you'll find that a partner is now ready to commit more fully to the relationship. Marriage or a union of some kind may be on the horizon. That's really cool. This is also a card of healing, of people coming together in the spirit of love and forgiveness. Are you involved in any relationships where misunderstandings or disputes have placed distance between you? Perhaps it's time to bring harmony back to those relationships by calling a truce and starting over again. I like that energy.
Yeah, I love it because one thing I didn't mention about in that fourth quarter, and what I was really going to say in our closing too, so this will take me right into my closing, but we will be getting together, Bret and I, throughout this year, and we'll delve more deeply into, these planetary aspects and transits and stuff. Today was just meant to be a general overview without all of the astro babble, just more of, the summary or synopsis of it all. But in September and October is that second set of eclipses. We get two sets of eclipses each year. And so in September, it's in Pisces, which was that thing I was talking about with the mutable signs and the fear, so that a lunar is releasing, full moon releasing, and in Pisces is going to be releasing those fears. But then the solar eclipse on October 2nd is in Libra. And so to that card that you just read, in Libra is the seventh house. The seventh house is partnerships. It's also contracts. So recently in my readings and studies, I've been thinking about that word contracts for the seventh house, because that's why marriage is there, because marriage is a type of contract, right? So it's not just marriage, it's also divorce, because divorce is a type of contract. We're dissolving a contract or breaking a contract. And so even if we don't think about it in terms of one-on-one partnerships or relationships, it's also about, like, do we need to make a new contract with ourselves? Or maybe when we're finding that new tribe, we're changing the contract of how we relate in the world. And Libra is all about, again, all about that balance, the I versus the we. How are we integrating ourselves into this we? And through that last solar eclipse in October, what kind of contract does that look for us going forward? And I think that card really embraced that as a closing theme for the fourth quarter.
I love that it ends with happiness and things coming together, like you said, whether it's people or ideas or everything that we worked for this whole, that whole 2024. We did the work, we moved on to better times ahead, happiness, and yeah, maybe love, marriage, relationship, or ending things to get on the right one. Things were meant to end, so there's new beginnings. You know what I mean? No matter what
Mhm.
that's a relationship or what. But moving on from those is usually the hardest part. But things are coming together at the end, and that's a beautiful start to 2025 with the Ten of Cups and moving on. And that's Aquarius too, right? Isn't it? Aquarius is going to be fully loaded for the next 40 some years, right?
Yes, right.
So,
Yes, Pluto in Aquarius. Yes.
like I said, and be
Yeah,
of your own life and do it with passion, motivation, and like I said, the Leos, they wear their heart on their sleeves too. It's like, don't be scared to show who you are. Like, you know
that's
what I mean?
right.
So I'm gonna leave it right there too.
I
I
am
just
too. That was, man, that came together great, Brett. I love it.
Well, I want to thank everybody, Cindy, for your time, and thank all you viewers out there. Please like and subscribe the video. And if you want a personal reading from either of us, it'll be in the link in the description box. And we look forward to seeing you in a future episode coming up, which I'm sure we'll start planning as soon as we're done here. So thank you very much, Cindy.
Thank you, Brett. Have a good have a good evening, day, months, all of the above. Peace be with you.
Namaste, everybody. All good?
Yeah, I can't find the stop recording. Oh, here we go. Maybe this is it.